What's going on, everyone? So I'm back working on the 76 Caprice. Well, not really, because the car is actually done. I wasn't gonna post this, or I wasn't gonna just make a video on this. I was just gonna leave it alone, but I figured maybe this little information that I'm showing could help somebody finish their swap, and I didn't want to leave y'all hanging. And the reason why I didn't really record is because it kind of just takes too long doing this stuff and recording. It's best if I just get in it and finish it, because I kind of need to get this car out of here. But I did record, and I'll put it in this video, the little stuff I did record. But I will explain everything, that way you can see what I did, and if you're working on your car, you can pretty much, I guess, copy it or do this and use it for your swap. So the last thing I recorded and I was working on was the wire harness. So I got the harness taken apart. I've already went through everything. I got all the important stuff labeled, like the computer power, the fuel pump control, the fans, RPM, everything is all there. I got all my ignition wires here. Pretty much that's all for the injectors, coil, transmission, anything that requires ignition power, it's right here. If you've never done these before and you want to do it, there's YouTube videos out there that pretty much does a way better job explaining on how to do this than me, to make it standalone. If you need diagrams, you can check out lt1swap.com. It pretty much tell you which wires to keep and what to eliminate. And he also offers a service on programming your computer. So check it out if you want info on how to do all this. Another thing is I eliminated the emissions on this harness. Here in Texas, if a car is over 25, it's emissions exempt, so that's why I did it. So if you plan on doing all this, just check with your local laws on the emission stuff if you want to eliminate it. But with all this ready to go on the engine, I'm gonna hook everything up, kind of rearrange some wires a little bit and hook it up to the fuse box. So I have my wire harness laid out how I want it, and I got my fuse box mounted right here in this location. So once you have all your pink wires labeled and everything coming from the computer side labeled, now it's time to start plugging it up. So for example, you get this wire and it says it goes to the ignition coil on the bank one side. So you come over here to your instructions and it says the coils for bank one, use the black and pink wire. So you come here, you grab this wire and you plug it up with that and with the injectors on the bank one side. So you're pretty much gonna do the same thing for all the other wires. It comes labeled, it pretty much tell you what wires to use. It makes it a lot easy when you use a fuse box like this when doing a standalone harness. So let me do everything, or let me hook everything up and show you what it looks like once it's completed. So I have the engine harness hooked up to the fuse box. Everything is pretty much ready to go. The only thing I have to do is extend these wires, which are the RPM, the miles per hour, and the check engine light, and some other wire. And then I have all the power wires. They got to get hooked up to a fuse or the battery. And then I have my electric fan wires, and that'll be pretty much it. So let me remove the harness from the engine, tape it up, and that'll pretty much wrap up the wire harness. So the harness is completely done. It's pretty much plug and play, or it should be. This right here is going to plug into the firewall. These wires right here I'm not going to use are the old oil pressure and water temp wires that I just can't do nothing with. And then these wires are going to hook up to the battery, and then these are the electric fan wires, so that'll get hooked up pretty much last. And then I have all these wires that's pretty much going to go inside the cab of the car, which are for the gauges, like the RPM, miles per hour, the OBD port, check engine light, and what else? And the fuel pump wire. So other than that, it should plug and play. So I'll get it on the engine and pretty much finish up this wire harness. So I have the battery cables in. I went ahead and hooked them up to the battery because I want to test everything out. I want to see if the engine would turn over with the key and if the throttle body would open up with the gas pedal. If I did everything right, it should work. And I just temporarily hooked up the battery cables to the battery. I will put a fuse right here, but for now it should be fine. So let me see if it'll work. So the next thing is to modify the pedal. That swap is drive-by-wire. I can't use the cable one because it's electric. So I have to make this truck pedal work. I don't like using this pedal, or it's really not swap friendly on cars just because of the angle and the way it bolts up. So what I like doing is using the original pedal and pretty much adapt it onto this one. And by that, I mean chopping this off and then welding this pedal onto this one. To be able to do all that, I made this base plate right here, which is pretty much the same bolt pattern as that. And then I'll get this, weld it onto that, bolt it down, chop this off, chop this one off, weld it onto here, and I have my pedal for the car. So let me do all that and get it in the car. So that's pretty much it. The pedal is in. It uses the same 3 bolts that the factory pedal was bolted to. So yeah, that's it. All I have to do now is pretty much hook it up, or run the wire through the firewall, hook it up, and that'll be pretty much it. Power steering, I think I explained that in a little video, which I'll put right here. So for power steering hoses, I'm using the 76 Caprice hoses. I just went ahead and bought some new ones. To make all this work, you need a conversion fitting, which looks like this. It converts that style flare into the new style flare. This is the brand. This is the part number. So that's pretty much should be it to put these hoses on the LS. I got both of the hoses on. The high pressure side worked out pretty good. The return line, I don't know if it wasn't the right one, but I had to kind of straighten it out a little bit because the bend was just way too off. And then I had to add a new piece of hose on there. Let me show you under the car with the adapter on the high pressure side what it looks like. And this is what the adapter piece looks like with the high pressure hose on there. Just pretty much tighten it down. Battery cables, I use the truck stuff because it works fine. No need to change it. The only thing I did have to do was remove the battery from that side and bring it over here. I just had to cut up that little bracket and bolt it down, but it fits fine. So the battery now, new location is over here. The front accessories is all truck stuff. Nothing special about that. The upper radiator hose is a truck. I just had to cut it to put this little adapter right here for the bleeder hose that come from the top of the engine. You don't want to block that off because that's how you pretty much bleed the engine. So I tapped in to right here. Cooling fans, I don't know what I got those off of, but I pretty much just got some fans that'll fit for that radiator and bolted them down and hooked them up and let the computer cut them on and off and just don't have to worry about it. And then I put this intake tube thing right here. Got it off of Amazon. I'll link it in the description if you need that or if you want that style. I don't know. The lower radiator hose, I don't know where I got it from. I'll put it in the description. I just got to find the part number. I don't too much know what I got it from. And then the heater hose, I just put a bypass right there because it's not hooked up yet, but it can be in the future. Just run 2 lines to the heater core and be done. AC is coming in the future, not right now. It will need custom lines and the bracket and hooking it up and all that good stuff, which I'm not worried about it. My goal was to get this engine running and it's running. So with the fuel system, you got 2 ways of doing it if you're gonna use the truck setup or the truck fuel rail. They made 2 different ones, return style and returnless. I went returnless because it's just less hoses, but if you go returnless, you need the Corvette filter / regulator to make it work. But if you use the one with the return style on it, you don't need the Corvette filter because the regulator is built into the fuel rail. You just got to run a line, the feed line from the tank and then the return line to the tank, and that's pretty much it. Let me pretty much get the car in the air and I'll show you how I hooked everything up and the exhaust. So for the fuel system, it pretty much comes from the engine, runs alongside the frame, zip tied to the brake lines, all there. And then I have my Corvette filter mounted in that location. Then I ran the feed line and return line from the filter off of there, goes to the fuel pump, which is mounted right there. And then those lines goes to the gas tank, which sits back here. I bought a kit from JEGS. It's like a LS swap fuel system kit. I don't recommend it because it came with a lot of fittings that you can't use or not the right fittings. So I got a box full of fittings that I didn't use. I used this rubber line here. I just made sure it was fuel injected hose that can withstand the pressure. Don't use regular line because it might bust. That's the only thing. What I would like to do, or I'm gonna find the right fittings, is to use the -6 lines on both of these that goes here to the pump and to the gas tank. That way it looks a little bit better and it'll last longer than this rubber hose. But that's pretty much for the fuel system. Exhaust, I already explained the headers in the first video. They fit pretty good. So this is what the exhaust looks like. It's pretty much a clusterfuck of different sizes. So this car had an exhaust system on it. You put a Flowmaster on there and it's ran to the back there. So that exhaust that they put on here was 2 1/4, and then the headers collectors are 3-inch. So I had to step that down to 2 1/2, make this wide pipe right here that goes reduced down to the 2 1/4. So that's pretty much what it looks like. I used these band clamps right here. They work pretty good. Looks like it's leaking. I'm gonna have to tighten that down. But it makes removing the exhaust a lot easier than the bolt-on style. So that's why I like using these. What else? For the shifter linkage, like I said, it's all the factory stuff. Just use the bracket from the old transmission, put it on the 4L60, and that's that. This is, you get a better angle of the oil pan right here. You can see how much it hangs. It's like 2.5 inches. So that's why I don't recommend using the muscle car oil pan, because it hangs a little bit too low. You got plenty of room to put a bigger oil pan this way. That way it don't hang so low. What else under here? So yeah, that's pretty much the exhaust right there. Just looks like a factory watt pipe design. It works good. So the car is pretty much done. The hard part is done. I would say it's 95% done. I just got to go through everything, check for leaks, tighten stuff down. I got to make a bracket for this so it don't move a lot. But that's pretty much it. Let me show you what it sounds like on, because I haven't done that yet. So it starts right up. I've test driven it already. It shifts through all the gears good. It's pretty smooth. It could use some more power being how big the car is, but a little tune could help all that out. It will be back in the future. I gotta put a Dakota digital gauges in it, do the AC, and I think it was something else he wanted, but like I said, for now it's done. I was gonna tell y'all, if y'all got any questions on how to do this stuff or anything about Impalas or how to do anything, I don't always check the YouTube comments or Instagram really. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna link my burner phone number in the description. That way, if you got any questions, you can shoot me a text. And that'll probably be the quickest way I can reply to anybody. So, like I said, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.